Welcome, everybody. Today, I am interviewing Mary Lou Corboy, who is the mother. What's your son's name?
I am of Darcy.
Darcy. I've had a brain fart. Let's start
That's
that
okay.
again. If you tell him I forgot his name, he'll kill me. All right. Darcy. Because
If I forget it, I'm in
I
trouble.
just did an interview with Darius, so I'm like, all right. Welcome, everybody. Today, I'm interviewing Mary Lou Corboy, mother of Darcy Corboy from Australia, who I am on a lot of TikTok lives with. He's a faithful flat earther, an enthusiastic flat earther, and the other day, his mother, Mary Lou, was jumped on a live that I was on, and she mentioned she has 38 grandchildren.
35.
30. Oh, look at me, I'm exaggerating. 38, that's crazy. 35. And she is a very enthusiastic flat earther. I guess that's where her son gets her from. And the subject today, you said family, faith, and flat earth. Is that correct?
That's it.
All
That's
right.
it.
Take it away. Let's hear it. Let's go.
Dave, can I just start off today by wishing you all a very happy feast day? Today is today in Australia, it's the 12th of December. You're still stuck in the 11th. But today is the feast day of Our Lady of Guadalupe, which is very significant for your people down south. Very, very significant. And it's just the most amazing, ongoing, incredible event that keeps happening. I won't dwell too much on it, but it just cannot go past without me mentioning it because it's so important for the Mexicans and for all those down there. Just briefly, in 1531, a peasant by the name of Juan Diego was trudging along in his poverty and his misery, and this amazing apparition happened, and it was the Blessed Virgin Mary appearing to him. And she was dressed as an Aztec woman, wearing a black sash around her waist, signifying that she was with child. She told this poor little illiterate peasant, Juan Diego, that she wanted a shrine put up in her honour and to chuff off to the bishop and get it done. So, of course, the bishop said, well, come on, you're nuts. What are you talking about? Show me some sort of proof. So the little guy, Juan Diego, went back to the site, and Our Lady told him to pick these Castilian roses that were growing on the side of the mountain. This happened over 3 days, 9th, 10th and 12th of December in 1531. He did so. He took up, so back in the day, they wore these cactus fibre capes. And he took up his cape and he picked all these roses, which were out of season. It was the wrong time of year for roses. Everything else was dormant. Here's these magnificent Castilian roses. Took them back to the bishop and said, here they are, here's their proof, right on the site where she appeared, here's these amazing roses. Threw open his tilba, and as he did that, the image of the Blessed Virgin appeared on the inside of his cactus cape. That cape is hanging today in Mexico City. It hasn't deteriorated, it hasn't aged. They say that the image is actually impregnated into the cape. It's not painted on, it's not. One of Darcy's older brothers has been over and seen it. It has an ambient temperature of a human being. It just continues to be an ongoing miracle. There's a lot of significance too about God's creation and flat Earth in it. A lot of there's as we get better and better technology, this cape is telling us more and more. As our cameras became stronger, they could pick up the reflection in Our Lady's eyes of the 12 people that were in the room. It's quite an amazing miracle and it's ongoing. But what it actually did at the time, it brought an end to human sacrifice that was going on in Mexico. So today's the day that we celebrate that amazing event. And it's not just something that happened in the past, it's alive and it's happening today. So happy feast day, everybody.
Feast day. Feast.
Yes.
Now, how do you
Feast.
celebrate? Do you guys feast, like eat turkeys like we do on Thanksgiving?
No, yeah, we do. In the old days of me rearing my large family, if it was the feast day of the saint of the day, Like Darcy is Joan of Arc. So on her feast day, he would get a special cake. He'd get off school for the day. We'd read about it. The kids would colour in the pictures, make a big deal about it. Um, and it's being a Catholic feast. If there was a very good mass somewhere I could take the kids to, we'd go off and do that as well. So that, it's a feast day. It's just celebrated in a small way in your home.
And
In Mexico today, it would be a big feast day.
so
Well, tomorrow.
what's the stupid question probably, what's the connection between Australia and Mexico?
None at all. I'm just wishing you guys happy feast day because
Oh,
it's actually not on our church calendar, but it's very significant. The
so
12th of December.
in Mexico, but not in the United States or Australia.
Well,
It's a
I know
Mexican
that, but
thing.
yeah, I'm sure
Okay.
you've got down that way. But
All
it's
right.
actually on the US calendar. It is on the
Okay. Oh,
US
interesting.
calendar.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's very good. So here we are, Dave. Poor Darcy, um, flat smacked by his mother.
So, no, you're the one that woke Darcy up, right? You flat smacked
Yeah.
him. And how did that
Well,
happen?
well, look, I've always been, one of those. I just always been searching for the truth. Always. I can remember at the age of 12 being interested in American politics. I mean, I was just nuts. I just wanted to know, what was going on everywhere. And I've always just been like that. And cruising along through life, with all this goings on over the last 6 years, I was going down some pretty hairy, deep rabbit holes with some friends. And once you do that, my mother always said, once you lift the blind, you can't pull it down. You just got to keep looking and looking for the truth. And this particular mum, I'm the godmother of her oldest son, we were talking about these issues one day, and she said to me, what do you reckon about the flat earth? I said, don't be daft. Don't be ridiculous. I mean, look
How
around you.
long ago was that? How long ago was that?
5 years.
Okay.
5 years ago. But you know what, Dave? One of my clearest memories as a child was the teacher, the nun, telling us in science or whatever it was, nature studies, that we were a spinning ball, spinning so fast. And I said, how come we can't feel it? And she said, because it's going so fast you can't feel it. Yeah, that's why. But I can remember being indoctrinated about it, thinking, this is bonkers. This is just bonkers. But everywhere around you in your world, everywhere around you, is this globe that everybody believes in and no one questions. And it wasn't until I realised there was actually a movement. Like with this girl said to me, once she planted it, and I just, smacked her down and said, don't be silly. Once you open up your eyes, as my mum said, things just land in your lap, things just kept appearing. And I thought, I'm going to look into this. I just, hang on a minute. I've always felt like something was wrong about this. And I realised then that I didn't need science and physics. I had eyes. I had my feet on the ground.
Wait, you don't
That
need
was
complicated algebraic
no.
formulas and stuff to see
Oh, I
that the
know
Earth
some
is
people
level?
do, yeah. And Darcy often wants to, ear bash me about all that sort of stuff. But I just think, hang on, you've only got to open your eyes. You've only got to feel your feet on the ground.
Yeah.
You've only got to look at a helicopter taking off and landing, an aeroplane, water in a glass, water in a bath. It's not rocket science. It's real.
Rocket
But
science isn't even rocket science. It's all fake.
no, that's terrible saying, terrible saying. So of course, they always thought Mum was a bit mad, but Mum's completely gone off the over the edge now. But I talked to Darcy about it because he was probably. I have 8 sons and 2 daughters, and Darcy was. I had 7 boys in a row, and then a girl, boy, girl. Darcy was number 6, but he was the only one. Well, okay. I had an awakening in the late 90s, late 80s, early like 89 and 90, which is when I removed all the kids from school and decided, now I'm not having any of this either. So, but that once again, doing that gave me not so much the freedom, I always felt free, but just that ability to be with the kids all the time, talking truth. And Darcy was the baby.
Are they all flat earthers?
I reckon they are, but not all of them admit it.
Okay.
There's a lot of Darcy's number 6. There's a bit of a pecking order there, Dave. So, Mr. Intelligent, the oldest. Oh no, he's got school teacher friends. He's not going to go there. His second brother, oh yeah, he's down to earth. He's very, but he's flat out, you know, doing his jobs. He's not going to get into these long conversations with Darcy. The boys, his brother's attitude is, yeah, yeah, Darcy, we know. Yeah, yeah, Darcy, we know. And I just say to them, well, let him tell you about such and such. Mum, he holds us up for an hour. We just can't, we've got to get on with life. Like this, he's so enthusiastic about it all. And, even to the point, like we have a stock feed business and Darcy works in our business. And he drives this truck down to the city quite regularly, but he loves it when the truck's dusty because he just writes the earth's flat on the back of it. And off it goes. And he's got an older brother works in the business. Oh, look,
he's got to write flatearthdave.com on the back, right? Keep that truck dirty. Come on, Darcy.
He's got, no, he's definitely moved on now. He's definitely into the marketing now. He's good like that.
Good.
But I just always, and it's how I come to homeschool the kids. I just always wanted to be able to give my day the very best and 100% truth. I just want the truth. And boy, they weren't getting that in school. No way. And so that's been a big part of our lives now for 35 years. And people say, oh, you must be one of the pioneers. I wasn't. When I made that decision to pull the kids out of school, I met people who've been homeschooling for 10 years and using all US materials because there was nothing in Australia. I, of course, had to change that too. I put in a lot of Australian content. We've got some fabulous poetry and writings that I put in and did Australian history instead. But I was very anti-school myself as a kid. I absolutely loathed it. I thought, what a shocking way to have to spend your childhood trudging around, in these
learning
places.
Nonsense that deep down inside is garbage.
Absolute. And I was always a bit of a rebel, I guess, but my dad had my back. And if anyone went home when I was a kid and said, oh, Miss So-and-so said, or Mr. So-and-so said, he'd always say to us, look, just don't take too much notice. They're lovely people. I'm sure they're very smart, but they've never left school. That's it. That's all that's their scope. So, and I have good friends who are school teachers, and I'm not, I don't want to offend anybody, but I do have a very healthy disrespect for the whole system. And that attitude that I was dealing with then was that they'd have to know better or what's good for my kids.
Here's how I look at school teachers. They have great intentions. They have great hearts. They just are the most indoctrinated because the way you become a school teacher is you memorize and regurgitate what's in those lying textbooks. And if you could do that perfectly, you get a degree that says you can tell the next generation the same bullshit you learned.
That's it. That's what it's all about.
That's what it is.
But the thing that I hated the most was this waste of precious time in your life being there. And I remember clearly the lovely summer morning in January for us. It's very hot. And my dad said, we're at the breakfast table, and he said, oh, what have you got on for today, Mary Lou? And I said, oh, I dropped my shoulders and I was really sad. I said, I've got to go into town and get my school books for next year. I was 14 and 9 months. I turned 14 in the April, and here we were, January. And he just looked at me and he said, oh, you don't need any more books. And I said, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And he said to me, I think you've had enough of schooling. It might be time to start your education.
Whoa.
And I know. It's profound, hey?
That's your dad. That's your dad.
My dad said that to me.
Okay.
He said, I said, no, what are you talking about, Dad? And he said, no, I've been waiting for this date to click over. He said, you can, because back then under the law in Victoria, Australia, you had to go to school till you were 14 and 9 months. So, and Mum and Dad were wholesale butchers. And he said to me, oh, look, Mum needs a hand in the office. I think you'll learn a lot more in there from now on than you will. And Dad was a stock buyer, cattle buyer, and I adored the ground he walked on, and it meant I could be with him. I was with him and learning beside him where I should have been for the last 14 and a half years. But that was such a gift, and I remembered it vividly. So then when little my kids come along, oh, I just didn't want them to go. I didn't want them to go to school, but had no idea. Back then, there were a few hippies, we call them. Might have been
Gypsies.
doing some fringy people. Were doing. I was sort of from a pretty conservative family, and I kept saying, "This is just wrong." And to my absolute horror, my eldest son did so well, but he was happy. He was happy there, and he was reading really well, and I was really annoyed. But then my second son saved the day. He just hated. He wouldn't even go to kindergarten. He used to lie on the floor of the car, like 4-year-old, and say, "Why do I have to go? What have I done wrong?" And I'm thinking, you don't. I just had no idea that there was any other option. And of course, I was on that treadmill that, we were all thrown into. My husband was running his own business. I was running a business. I was just too busy to think about finding an alternative. I was employing people in the business, people at home, all over the shop, doing all this. And I remember going home from my shop one night and cooking a meal and sitting there, and not even time to read a story to the kids, just I thought, what am I doing? What am I doing here? And around at the same time, I started really blowing with the particular school. So we're a traditional conservative Catholic family. And I had my kids in a Catholic school, and those guys were clowns. They were not even solid on that. And I was bluing with them all the time. It was getting to the stage where the kids were coming home saying, "You won't believe what they said today, Mum." So I had the kids' confidence. And you know what? Once, as my mum said, once that blind is lifted, things just started landing in my lap. And I had a real blue with we call them blues out here if you have an argument with someone. So I had a real blue with this nun, dressed hideously, not in her habit, didn't want my respect. And she was telling me that, she knew more about educating my kids than I would ever know. And she said to me, "I don't think you'll ever be happy." And I said, "No, I won't." She said, "Well, what do you think you're going to do?" I said, "I'm going to keep them at home myself one day," not even knowing that it was even possible. And from then on, Dave, I was in the Dentist, picked up a magazine, big middle page article about a family in New Zealand homeschooling their kids. And I was just like a caged lion. I just had to get into this and get those kids out of there and just start living our life properly. Before I knew it, I was put in touch with people, and there was all this amazing organized programs available in the US. And off I went.
You stated your intention, and then the
Yeah.
universe just delivered all the information to you.
Opened it up and landed it in my lap.
That's
and
how it
that's what
works.
we've got to do. We've got to abandon ourselves to ourselves. We've just got to say, "Hey, this is how I feel. This is what I need to do today. It'll happen. It'll happen." And that little guy who'd been crying on the floor of the car, when I finally announced to the kids what my intentions were for the next year, he looked up at me and he said, "I've been trying to tell you." Wake up, Mom. So yeah, I really thoroughly enjoyed every day of homeschooling. I went on to have 10 children. And we moved a lot. We shifted around a lot. My youngest son was 7, had lived in 7 houses, but only because we were trying to get up here to this beautiful property and build this lovely farm, and moving our business. But anyway, the beauty of that was you just grab your school books and throw them on the table. And I did have a rigid routine, as in English, math. But I wanted them to explore and enjoy and have time. And that's what's magnificent about the kids being, and I don't like the term homeschool. Homes aren't schools. We just keep the kids at home.
Yeah,
They do their learning at home. Yeah.
I'm
And that's what it's all
I'm a big fan of Crow 777 Radio, his podcast. I don't know if you know
about.
about it. And he covers everything from health to just everything. Just it's one of the widest ranging podcasts. And for years I was saying, don't send your kids to college because it's a waste of money. Send them to Crow school. I call it Crow College, whatever I called it. And I said, rent a house for a bunch of kids, let them live in the house, and they just have to listen to one Crow episode every day, four old ones, one new one, because there's one a week. And that's it.
Yeah,
And they can listen while they're bike riding, while they're kite surfing, what doesn't matter where they listen
yeah.
and then have discussions. And a couple families did it. A bunch of families did it. And they said that their kids stopped playing video games, got interested in life, stopped smoking weed, just like changed their
Yeah.
lives for the better. Not that I'm saying smoking weed's bad. I mean, just literally they were non-productive, ready to go into debt for college or spend a ton of money that they saved up. And these kids are like starting their own businesses now, and they have they have ideas and all sorts of stuff, and it's amazing. And like I wish more people did. I wish I knew about that.
But Dave, it's natural. It's
Yeah,
natural. And I found that, I had a son who is today a brilliant diesel mechanic, and he would motivate himself. I had all these babies. Like he was number four, and I was sort of busy running the business, looking, taking care of babies and stuff. And he'd be banging on my bedroom door, correct my maths. You've got to correct my maths. I've done it. I got up at 6 a.m. and did. He wanted to go out in the shed and pull a motorbike apart for the sheer pleasure of putting it back together again. And that was how he learned. He was
yeah.
only like young teenager, and the boys with the horses. You were a big horse family. They were free to get outside and be with those horses because they motivated themselves to get there. They weren't waiting for some half-wit up the front of a desk at the desk, hating them and bells ringing. And it's child abuse, Dave.
Yeah.
It's child abuse.
In school, I got by, in elementary school and junior high school and high school. I I got by with, C's and B's, some A's, but mostly just very average, very, very average at best. And in college, the same, I was very, very average, maybe even a little above average. But I hated accounting, the accounting classes, managerial accounting. Managerial accounting wasn't that bad, but the accounting two or whatever it was, I hated it. I was having trouble with it. And I went to the professor. He said, just come anytime if you're having an issue, right? And I have to pass this frigging class to graduate. And I'm waiting outside the professor's door. He's sitting at his desk with his back to me. And he made me wait like 20 minutes. He turns around. He's like, can I help you? And I was like, well, I'm having an issue with this. And he looked at me. He turned around. He turned his back to me. And he goes, eat, sleep, and breathe accounting. And then he starts doing his paperwork again. That's all he said. That's all he said. And then right there, I knew that this is complete and total bullshit, right? And not that I have ever needed any of that I learned in any of those classes. Again, you know what's crazy though? The class that I really excelled in, straight A's, I took it for four, different levels of it for 4 years. I took 4 chapters of it. Is astronomy. And I was really good at it. I was so good at it that like the cute girls in the class would come and I would tutor them. It was very good to me. Astronomy was very good to me. It's all bullshit. Every single thing I taught those people and learned myself, it's all pseudoscience bullshit. None of it is real. I was awesome at it.
Yeah.
Like, isn't that strange?
Yeah, I know, but you were just retaining the story that you'd read and
I loved it. I believed it. I was like, this is so cool, and it absolutely amazing.
I know. So, but even back then, we had globes. I've got so much to be sorry for. And this is the thing. When this friend said this to me about the flat Earth, I said to her, "No, there's too much backtracking we've got to do." And I thought, "No, there isn't. We've just got to go forward now with the truth. Don't worry about it. Don't shake it off. We're all indoctrinated, all of us." And it's this is what's hard now. There's this real pride thing. Like you could stand there. I said, to Darcy, there's so many arguments for flat Earth. It's just a mind. I mean, scripture full of it, absolutely full, and they ignore it, Dave. They ignore it. They ignore those scriptures, and they go, oh, so and so said. Yeah, well, the Jesuits have said that. That's all Jesuit influenced. We're very, very aware of what happened to our beautiful church in 1540 when the Jesuits came in and pushed the heliocentric mantra and got everybody absolutely under their spell. And we're still there. We're still stuck there. But that we're beyond that. We don't care about that. We just love the church that our Lord Jesus Christ founded. And this is where it's very difficult because you have friends that are, oh, I read this in such and such. I said, oh yeah, yeah, who wrote that? Who wrote that? You can't tell me that an illiterate 10-year-old child wrote that. They didn't. Some Jesuit got hold of that story, and so this is what we're dealing with all the day, or every day, and it's a real battle. But even that was a great opportunity to pull the kids out of school, to get them. I wanted them to have the faith, but I wanted them to have the real faith, not this Jesuit-based, fake faith. It's all part of it. It's all
Let,
part of it.
let me show you. Let me show you how the crazy shit that people believe. This literally popped up in my feed today. Um, this story right here. It says NASA loses contact with its Maven spacecraft orbiting Mars for the past decade. Then look at these two images. Like, what is that purple flat spot? Like this is what they show people, and people just believe this crap. It's
Maybe that's where Maven crashed into. Maybe, Maven.
These articles come out every day. They're everywhere, and they're like on multiple different. This was from CBS. This was on that's the Associated Press. The same article, CBS News.
Do you know what's a great tool
believe.
though for the whole argument? Is this fake moon landing thing? It's so obvious, and so many people are waking up to that. And I just say, oh yeah, and what else are they telling you? And what else have you been told? Why did they bother telling you that?
Yeah,
Look a bit further. Look a bit further.
Incredible.
But I know. But see, Darcy's he just wants everybody to share in the joy of the knowledge. That's what his enthusiasm is. And he has stickers. He's produced these magnet stickers that he sticks on absolutely everything and everywhere, up the street, on park benches. And it's the Flat Earth app, advertising the Flat Earth app.
God bless
the
him.
sign up. He just does his work everywhere he goes. Yeah. So, but and that's a frustration, I think, at this point. I think in 10 years' time, life's going to be a bit easier for everybody because people are waking up.
Well, they are waking up super fast. This is while you were talking with zero budget, I made this picture. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you see right here? Look, that's me.
Yeah, there's Dave on the moon.
That's me on the moon.
Yeah. That's it.
And
Headlines, David Worth found on the moon.
People just believe this nonsense.
I know.
It's
my poor long suffering husband actually Darcy Debbie Dobbs on him and said, Mum, he's watching the news on the computer at work. I said, oh, that makes sense. That's why he's saying these stupid things at the dinner table. Because you know what? It hit me like a thunderbolt. It was March the 14th, 2020, and we'd been down in the city at a big conference, and everybody was going off their nutters with all this sanitized stuff and not shaking hands. And when Alan drives, I sleep, and he turned off to come up near our property when we were driving home. And I woke up and I said, I'm not turning the TV on ever again. And he said, what are you talking about? He thought I'd had a crazy dream. And I said, it's all lies. Everything's lies. And I was a media junkie. I used to tape all the news so I could re-watch it and see what so-and-so said and what such and such said. I'm so ashamed of myself for being interested in all those lies. And honestly, we have not turned the news on since March 14th, 2020, because I was hit like it was like lightning. They're just telling you what they are told to tell you today. Switch it off, and you're not going to know about it. And I remember like a few years earlier, a stupid law came in Victoria. We've had some horrific governments in our state, where parents and grandparents had to go and do a course if they wanted their children and grandchildren to collect the eggs or feed the calves on the farm, or do little chores that kids do on farms. You had to be licensed, and they were looked on as employees, the kids were, because they were actually contributed to the upkeep and welfare and food of the family. And they tried to bring in this thing where you had to do a $10,000 on-the-spot fine if you didn't have this license, have your children collect the absolute crazy stuff. Anyway, I was sitting there over the newspaper reading about it, all upset. And one of my more switched on sons walked in and says, what's up? old girl, he always called me, and I said, look at this, look at this, look at what they're going to do. Yeah. He said, oh, give me that. And he walked out of the fire and threw the paper in the fire. He said, there, you didn't read it. And it was just, I didn't read it. And it never affected me. And you know what? It just hit me. I said, you said, Mum, stop reading this crap. If
I
you
always
don't read
say,
it, it won't.
don't watch the news. It gives you cancer.
It does.
Like there's
And you know
nothing
what?
good on it. Once in a while, like once a year, I'll turn on the news for 5 or 10 minutes, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Holy crap! I'm still right. It's horrible. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable." And then
Why did I do
when
that?
some big, crazy, stupid, fake false flag event happens, um, you'll turn on CNN or Fox or whatever, and it's the same newscasters that are the big black guy on one of those channels. I forget it. I don't know if you probably have different ones out
Yeah.
there, not down there. And then Wolf
Yeah.
Blitzer. When you see Wolf Blitzer, you know it's fake. All right.
Yeah. Well,
Wolf, yeah.
we were driving out here to the farm building this house. And, for 2 years we were doing this and renting in town and driving out. And I remember one night we went in and we were having a quick dinner, a supper, I suppose. And someone said, I wonder what's going on in the world, because we were just engrossed in what we were doing out on the farm. And we turned the TV on just in time to see an aeroplane fly through the Twin Towers. And even that was fake, Oh, did you see that? We were stopped in our tracks, hadn't looked at anything for months.
You
And
turned it
that
on the morning of or the night of September 11th.
well, it was, yeah, and saw it happen. Yeah, we saw, look at this. Gosh.
Wow,
But
that's crazy.
but
That's
even
crazy.
now, like, isn't it crazy? But it's like even that was fake. Like, you just
It,
and it was the big, that was the big thing. But even like if there's big floods or tornado, I say to them, that's the footage they showed last week at the flood down at such and such. It's not even happening. But anyway, it just goes. But the other thing I'm keen to touch on today, Dave, is in rearing a large family. That's only possible if everyone's healthy.
Hey, everybody, quick message that I'd like to share with all of you. Our lives are filled with toxins in our air, food, and even in the information we're taught. Avoiding them all is impossible, but helping your body detox doesn't have to be complicated. That's where Masterpiece comes in. Just 5 drops under your tongue twice a day, and that's it. Super easy, super simple, and it doesn't even taste bad. I've tried countless supplements, and while generally I'm pretty healthy, I didn't really feel much of an effect. But with Masterpiece, it delivered noticeable benefits. Check out the podcast I did with Terry from Masterpiece, linked below this video, or you can find links directly to Masterpiece on my website, flatearthdave.com, or in the shopping section on the app. The key to health is to detoxify. Now back to the show.
I mean, it's possible, but it's. I just wanted life to be enjoyable. I didn't want to be running off anywhere. I didn't want to have sick kids. I didn't want to have, that burden. And I know firsthand. I've had a really rough year myself, and I know that real burden that can happen to a family if you get on that. I don't know what words I can use here. That medical treadmill.
Right.
It's very hard to get off it.
Yep.
And I was very, very blessed with healthy kids and healthy pregnancies and healthy babies and everything, but lived healthy. You can do that if you've got time. If you're at home and you're not rushing, when you're rushing, you're going to take shortcuts. You're going to grab that packet of processed bread. You're going to grab that margarine and you're going to give a child breakfast and think you're clever and shove them out the door. And all you've done is poison them. But when you're at home, you're making your bread, you're growing your veggies. We've been blessed to be able to have our own meat. That's it's health. All of this stuff. It just enriches, your life through health. And I was very. Darcy's my first, number 6. He was the first to be completely and 100%
Unjabbed.
pure.
Unjabbed. Yeah, unjabbed.
So, and once again, it was 1990. Darcy was born in 1990. I went in with my 2-year-old on my hip, and my Darcy in the pram, and I walked into this big, local council funded, of course, all free, place, and a smell hit the back of my nose. I said, "What's that? What is that?" What's different? And this girl at the counter started rattling on and on and on and on about all the new changes that they'd made to all of that in 1989. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to give them this and we're going to give them that. And then we're going to give them this and this and this and that. Now, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but the fingers on Darcy's left hand didn't grow, didn't form. He had in his development. So he has no fingers on his left hand. So there's me with this beautiful little baby. And I picked up his little hand and I said to the girl, "Oh, Ian, what do you got for this?" And she just like she was just going to, she was telling me, how clever they were and all these wonderful things they had that they were going to squirt into my baby. And I walked out. I just walked out of the place. And I said to my chiropractor next day, I love chiropractors. I love them. I love the whole, healthy spine. Everything will work. If your spine is healthy, your spinal cord will feed your body. Love them. So said to my chiropractor next day, once again, it was my dad who sent me to a chiropractor. But I said to my chiropractor next day, listen, I just walked out of this big, place. And he said, I'm not allowed to talk about it. I'm not allowed to tell you anything, but I can give you some reading material. And I reckon I got home and I just lifted up the first post. I don't even need to read this. I already know. And so Darcy's a clean skin. Another thing that makes him a truther is he's always in bare feet. You could never get shoes on him. And he's even today.
So I'm
He's always
barefoot.
grounded.
Yeah. Well, I'm barefoot today. I just literally went out and picked up some food, and I went barefoot, and it's 19 degrees Fahrenheit here. That's below zero.
No. And and I've had a lot of autoimmune issues. It's another big issue. But have you grounded today, Mum? Have you walked? Have you done your 15 minutes out on the grass? Because I run the business. I'm always on the computer. Yeah. So it's easy to see how he was easily woken up.
I'm standing on a wobble board right now, and I have a grounding pad on it that's grounded to a dedicated grounding wire.
Okay.
Just so you know.
You're at it all the time. Oh, no, good.
I'm there.
I think the most I've got is a grounding sheet in the bed.
Yep.
But but my generation, have got a lot to answer for. Well, I think it was my parents actually. That was when the big changes came in. Like my grandmother read 11 on a farm, never saw a doctor in her life, ever. And neither for the children. She was able to, if there was something up, she was able to fix it. But this is and my experience, of course, with all of that is, of course, we need acute care. And this has happened to me on Christmas Eve last year. I had 54 people for Christmas lunch, and I'm running around at 11 o'clock at night, preparing food. It's going to be a fabulous day tomorrow. And I had two options for Christmas Mass, and there was a midnight Mass. I thought, oh, how beautiful. I'm going to take off to midnight Mass. Because I'm a night owl, I'll work all night. So I'll come home and I'll finish all this, and everyone will get up and everything will be beautiful and done. I slipped in the bathroom, and I broke my ankle in 3 places. So next thing, here's Mary Lou, who spends her whole life staying away from doctors, in the back of an ambulance on Christmas Eve, with all this poison medication. Dave, it's 50 weeks ago. Today, I've still got a wound. I picked up 2 hospital infections, golden staph and pseudomonas. And they discharged me because there was nothing they could do about it. I'm now healing it 50 weeks later with Manuka honey. So that, because I had surgery 2 days later where they put a plate in, and they also put in golden staph.
So how are you using the honey? Are you applying it topically?
Yeah. I'm using 900 MGO. This is the advantage of having sons that are horse trainers, and one of my sons said to me, Mum, we've seen miracles with Manuka honey, healing horses. He said, give it a go. So 50 weeks, thanks very much to the hospital, but the bones have long healed. But they're, So anyway, I had 400 MGO, and I thought, no, I did a bit of research. You get all these different strengths. And the highest I could get from my health food shop was 900. So I got a jar of that. And I just painted on, put a bit of gauze on it, or hopefully linen, and get on with my day. And it is slowly shrinking. And this is a chronic ulcerated wound that's taken 50 weeks that the hospitals could not heal with all their garbage. But we definitely need acute care, but their acute care becomes chronic illness.
Yep.
And that's, we must have the ability and the courage to cut it. Say, you've done all you could do now. Now I'm going to do this. And because
Right.
they're chronic. See, I suffered a deep vein thrombosis in 2012, 12 years ago, whatever it was. Once again, the medication, 10 months later, I've got autoimmune diseases. I've got psoriatic arthritis. Dave, I could not lift a hairbrush to my hair. I was completely crippled. Obviously, it's in my DNA, but the medication wrecked the gut, caused the autoimmune. And they put me on methotrexate, which is like chemotherapy. And all it doesn't do anything anyway. All this horrible doctor said to me was, I'm going to increase this next month. I'm going to increase it every month. I'm thinking, yeah, until my hair falls out. Then what are you going to do to me? But I was in so much agony. I was just searching for some sort of relief. And I was in the city one day walking around. I'd been to see this specialist and I'd got a prescription for this horrible drug. And once again, these sons of mine, these wise voices say, one of them rang me and said, what are you up to, old girl? And I said, oh, I'm just waiting on a script. I've been to see a specialist. And he said to me, come on, you know better than that. And I said, I do, but I'm just trying to get some relief so I can at least brush my hair. Anyway, I got the prescription, come home, and I had to take this tiny little pill about the size of a baby's tooth on a Friday. And that knocked me for 6 until about Tuesday. And I used to get out of bed and just lie on the couch. It just knocked me about so badly. And this is what's supposed to be helping me, Dave. This is what's supposed to be making me feel better. I went to a doctor to feel better. And once again, 2 sons chatting away about mum. What's up with mum? Oh, she's always like that. She'll be right on Tuesday. They'd observed this. She takes this tablet on Friday and she doesn't get off the couch till Tuesday. And with that, I thought, nah. I heard that, boy, you know better than that, mum. And I got up, I threw everything in the rubbish bin. I thought, if I haven't got it, I've got to find a cure for this. I found a rheumatoid arthritis naturopath. I've never met him. He ordered tests. He was in the city and I was here. He ordered tests remotely, got the tests done. He could tell me what was in my gut and why. He said, you've just got to heal your gut. You just got to get the bad bugs out of there that the medication has caused, and we've got to get you. And I kept asking the question: can you heal an autoimmune? Because people think they can't. Of course you can. You can heal celiac. You can heal anything. You can get your body back to what it was the day you were born, if you can just heal the gut. Anyway, I was nuts. I just went after it once again, kept getting to the very bottom of it. And the naturopath explained it to me on the phone. He said, if you've got a cut and you keep irritating, it's going to get bigger, it's going to get infected. He said, that's what's going on inside of you. So let's get in there now and heal that. So I went on an elimination diet, and all I had to do was take out, well, it was a big deal at the time. I had to take out all grains, all dairy, casein grains. And because it was psoriatic arthritis, I had to take out all the inflammatories, no beans, no pulses, all I was down to was almost rabbit food and a bit of chicken breast or something like that. But honestly, the body responded immediately. In about a couple of weeks, I remember calling my husband saying, look, I can wriggle my toes. Look at this. My body had started to heal itself. And as you understand with these autoimmune diseases, when your body attacks itself, the first thing it kills is the soft tissue between the joints. And that's when you get the inflammation and the agony and the pain. And the body had already started to heal, find a way to heal. And then we put in, all the great probiotics. But I found a product called bovine colostrum, which is the milk, the colostrum that a baby calf gets. And we have bovine colostrum because it's available. A cow makes a lot of milk. And a lot of milk, it's very available. So they say that a calf needs 16 litres and the cow makes 24. So they take that excess, they dry it out, and put it into a container for me to take. And I make my own capsules of it now because I'm not big on milk drinks and things. But I was able to heal my gut with this bovine colostrum, and I still do it today. And Dave, I can eat whatever I like. I can eat anything I like. I can eat all grains. I can eat if you can't eat a food, there's nothing wrong with the food. There's something wrong with your body. And people say, oh, I've got allergies to this and I've got allergies to that and I'm celiac and yada, yada. No, no, no. Your body's designed to handle all that. You've just wrecked something that got inside yourself. And I do not have a pain in any joint. I'm what, 3 years off 70, and I've had psoriatic arthritis, Ross River virus, I've had all, you name it, it's been thrown at me, and I'm totally pain free because I went after the answer. I just kept saying, yeah, but why? Yeah, but why? But can you heal it? Now you go to
Was it the
a doctor.
colostrum that fixed it?
The bovine colostrum is what keeps me happy and healthy every day of my life now.
You
What
take that in
fixed it
pill
was
form?
it can't, so in pill form.
Is that what you
Sorry.
said? You take it in pill form or you
I
drink it?
make my own. Yeah, you buy it as a powder, but
Okay.
you can't just go in now and start dosing yourself with bovine colostrum. You've got to. It was explained to me like this: you go into those high-rise car parks. You've got to find somewhere to park, and you put all the good bugs in that you can get. But if they haven't got somewhere to park and start multiplying, you're just going to pass them straight out of your body because the bad bugs have got control. So that's why you've got to go in there. Or the other thing one thing I often forget about, he put me on a strong course of oregano, emulsified oregano, a product called ADP, and it kills everything in your gut at the high doses that I was taking. And he said, we're going to go in here and kill all these bad bugs, and then there'll be somewhere for the good bugs to park. It's that simple.
Hmm.
Yet people out there, Dave, are believing that they need medication. And every pill and every chemical medication you're given is only going to make you chronically sicker.
I'm
It's only
aware.
going to, it's not, yeah, it's just, but it's like this whole news thing. It's all the medical thing. It's just so simple. But
No, I
if
get
you've
it.
got,
I get it. I'm a big naturopath guy. Like I
yeah,
don't take any pharmaceutical drugs. The only
no,
insurance I want is collision insurance. If I get run over by a truck, I want to see an orthopedic surgeon to put me back together, and then I'll do the
yeah,
rest of
that's
the
it.
healing.
Yeah,
Question.
the trouble is, Dave, but you've got to get out of where he works. You've got to get away from those nurses and doctors that
I
are going to be
understand.
giving you,
I understand.
yeah.
Your friends. Do you have any friends?
I'm very selective.
are
I don't know.
are are you the crazy homeschooling flat Earth mom?
Oh, no, 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 no. No, I was in the early days. In the early days, I was the crazy, yeah, what's she up to now, you know? But we moved away and I was able to just center very much on family. I've got some good close friends who, will ring me and say, what do you use for such and such, or what do you think? I'm actually at the moment on Instagram. I'm posting flat Earth. If something comes up that's really simple and really clear, I'll post it on my story. And I'm really interested watching those that are liking it. It's been a great filter for me to see
I got a
who's
good one for
ignoring
you.
me and
I got a
who's,
good one for you. Darcy
yeah,
can give it to you on the app. If you go into the images section and you type in seasons and
yeah,
this image right here. So
yeah,
this is when I was in Mexico. It was 90 degrees. At the same time up here in Connecticut, it was negative 10, 100 degrees difference, right? So if you
yeah,
look at the sun is over here where my finger is. So it's farther. The angle that it's hitting Connecticut is different because the earth is curved and the distance difference to the sun is 0.00003% farther, which is nothing, right? But
yeah,
how do we have a
yeah.
100-degree difference? But on a flat earth, the sun was right here. That yellow line is how far it is from where I was, and the green line is how far it is from Connecticut, twice as far. Which
See,
one
look at that.
makes sense and which one is absolutely ridiculous?
Absolutely ridiculous.
Absolutely ridiculous. So put that on your Instagram story.
I shall. I shall.
Okay.
I shall do that.
That's my favorite. That one really is getting a lot of people because it's easy to understand. The
Yeah,
heliocentric explanation is the R word, and
yeah,
and that's not ridiculous. It's worse than ridiculous. So, all
yeah.
right, go ahead. Sorry, back to you.
No, no, no. It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, if there's anyone
Now,
out there thinking about, should I take my kids out of school? Can I do this? You can do
absolutely,
it.
100%. Um,
Yeah.
did you say is your husband still around?
Oh, yeah. He's
Okay,
at
and
work.
is he's not flat?
Oh, he is.
Oh, he's
He
flat,
just
but he
doesn't.
still watches the news.
Oh, he just wants to know what this one's doing. He wants to hate politicians. He likes hating politicians.
That's
So
so
he
that I
turns
get
around.
it. I get it. No, I get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Oh, no, no, no. He's very much. He's actually said to me, "No, of course Darcy's right, but he's got to do some work. We've got to get him doing other things. Like every person that comes into our factory, they get, oh, Darcy's got him bailed up in the corner. But oh, the guy came here to install a TV one day and went away with information. He was going out to get the app.
Nice.
Yeah, everywhere we go, everywhere we
There's a
go.
lot of people happening in Mexico. Just the
Yeah.
other day here, on a NBA game, a basketball. I think it was basketball. Yeah. Um, this was a shot at the game. Let me just share with you. Where's it? Um, where the hell did it go? I will just go here. Um, is that showing?
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the old
So the guy with a flat Earth map
Yeah,
right
yeah,
on. So
yeah.
it's growing. It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
It's what we've got to do, though. We've all got a bit of a mission here to wake people up, and just for their own sake, we've got to save them. We really do. And the t-shirts are great, but Darcy's magnets are good. If I'm paying the lawnmower guy, I put one of them in his envelope. They one of his magnets, one of his Darcy's magnets. Um,
I stamp the
and,
money. I stamp our money with a flat Earth stamp sometimes.
yeah. Oh, good. Yes. Oh, all right, okay, a lot of cash. But no, no, it's only we're seeing more and more people accepting the moon landing thing. So
Accepting it or
maybe,
rejecting it?
I think they're accepting. They're sort of laughing about it. I mean,
Oh, no,
you can't.
accepting that it's fake. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, sorry, that's what
Yeah,
I'm
you're
sorry.
saying it
Yeah, yeah,
upside down, like you're
yeah,
in
yeah.
Australia or something.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's it. Yeah, but see, I remember the day, in school, and oh wow, look at that, they walked on the moon. You know, we believed everything. We did.
I did
Why were
too.
we so dumb, Dave? Why were we?
Because we're taught that teachers and people in high power would never lie to us, and the government is our daddy, and they're here to take care of us. So we want to believe these
Yeah,
things. We're good people, and to understand how this world is shocking to people because
yeah,
I think people are born inherently good, but there's so much evil, if you will, or opposite of good, or whatever you want to call it. It's hard to people just like, I can't believe they would do something like that. Well, guess what? That's true. You can't believe it.
yeah, yeah.
You can't. I can.
And but it's so entrenched in everything now, in all our structures. It's all entrenched, but the hidden agenda is what's developed it, what started it.
Yeah.
The whole idea of taking children off mothers, putting mothers in the workforce. You've got another uh, you know threat of taxpayers.
Yep.
The children are now no longer with
More
the mother.
taxpayers break up the family, indoctrinate the
Yeah,
children.
yeah.
It's all part of one big system.
Yeah, I had a very dear friend who had 11 children, and I remember when I had about four or five, and she said to me, "Stay at the kitchen sink, Mary Lou. You'll hear everything." And it's so true. Those kids want to come and tell you. They want to come and tell you what's going on. They want to come and tell you what so and so could be playing with something that might be dangerous, Mum. Then they'll come to you if they know you're there. You take that out. You take that mother out of the home. I
Yep.
mean, I'm not a career lady, but we run businesses. I'm a business, we run a big business.
Got 10
It's big.
kids.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's right. And now we've got like 5 million a year stock feed business, but
So you
and
know why you have 10 kids? Because you realize the education system was stupid. Most people have very few kids because they're worried about the education system. Like, oh my God, college. I'll tell you something. I had a healthy boy and a healthy girl. Meanwhile, around me, There's all sorts of V Pokemon damaged children coming out, um,
Oh yeah,
and I was like, oh my god, I have a healthy boy and a healthy girl. That's a gift from God, and I really don't want to have to worry about college for a third. And literally, that's why I stopped having kids because I didn't want. I was
yeah,
worried about college. Isn't that stupid?
yeah,
Isn't that stupid?
yeah. I know.
Dumbest
Well,
thing
it's
ever.
you're hostage. You're hostage to the devil.
Yeah,
You're hostage to it, and it's and and the stupid things people would say to me like, "What about socialization?" I said, "Oh, that's the best part about it. They don't."
yeah.
And
No,
they just
that
what?
was my big thing. When I was telling people, I'll call it the Crow University, right? Crow University.
Yeah,
Just listen to an episode of Crow each day. Um, I do think that the learning how to be away from home and deal with others. I think that is the most important thing at college, but you don't have to go to college to learn that. And I
no,
say, when the time the kid's 18, they need a little separation from the parents. So I say, get a
yeah,
whole bunch of families, go rent a house
yeah,
out on the Cape or somewhere, or
yeah,
someplace cool,
yeah.
and have the kids all live there together. Have them
No,
get little jobs, have a
yeah, you'll
garden,
find.
do all sorts of
Yeah,
stuff, and that's
you'll find a
that's their
way.
education. Yeah,
We were very, very blessed in that we had a business, and then one of our eldest sons, in his business. So these bored 15-year-old boys could go off and work 3 or 4 days a week to get away from mum, get away from the littlies, and we were blessed with that. But farms offer that, and
yeah,
and I had a mum saying to me lately, "Oh, what can I do to try and distract?" I said, "Get him a little business, start a business, teach him to how to make money, teach him how to be motivated." And he'll really love it. Any little thing could be rebagging peanuts, anything, just something, because I were living in the city, just
right.
something away from, from structure. But oh no, it's. I just didn't like the teachers, and I didn't like the system. I was sending my kids to a Catholic school and paying all these, working and working to pay all these fees, and having to undo all the crap at the end of the day myself. Well, what am I doing? And it's only when you stop and think about it. But I back to 10 kids. I just loved them. And still do. I
Apparently,
just love them. I'm really blessed to have. And I think though, because of the homeschool situation, there was no pressure. And yet I know homeschool mums who do put themselves under pressure. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't turn. I was given great advice. Don't turn your home into a school. It's not. It's your home. Don't do that. Just all you're doing is they're learning. We had a great journalist, a fabulous cartoonist here in Australia, Lunig, absolutely amazing, a man before his time. And someone said to him one day, "Oh, you teach your kids at home, do you?" He said, "No, I don't. They teach themselves." He said, "I don't teach anybody." He said, "We went out the paddock the other day and the trough was leaking. They learned how to fix it themselves." But I said, "Just, well, what's wrong with this trough? We better fix it." That they saw a snake. They went home and looked up to see which sort of snake it was. You see, I'm not a teacher. They teach themselves. I give them the opportunity to teach themselves.
I like
So
it.
that was another angle on it. Yeah, we're over time, Dave.
Yeah, we're coming up on the end here. Um,
Yeah.
I had a thought of something I wanted to ask you, but it slipped away. Family, faith, flat Earth.
And
Um, any final thoughts? Maybe it'll come to me.
it, it ties it all together. But the faith aspect. This is God's creation. Let's not insult Him anymore. Give
Yeah.
us a break. Open up your Bible. There's that
Oh,
much reference to the firmament.
that's what I wanted to say. The anti flat earthers, the globalists is it's purely physical materiality or Newtonian view of the world. Everything is physical. There is no spirit needed to be a heliocentric believer. There's no spirit needed. Everything is physical. Hey, the sun, is a physical thing at a certain distance, and everyone sees the same thing. That's not how the sky works. The sky is completely different. The sky is a spiritual place. Nobody
Mm,
knows how it works or what it is, and that's okay. But
mm,
they want everything to fit into a math equation, to have a measurement. Not everything can be measured. People say, well,
no,
if you got three people at the known distances from each other, they can look at the moon and they can triangulate it. No, they're all seeing the moon in a different position. So you can't triangle it.
But they're intimidating the everyday man with all of that stuff. So they say,
Yep.
okay, well, you must be wrong. You must be wrong because you've got a degree in that. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've heard someone say that, one of Darcy's
You,
brothers said that to him.
you know,
Why would you know more than a scientist?
when when they talk about like a boat going over the horizon, my fingernail is going to go over the horizon. A 2-year-old can understand that. That's easy, right? Yeah, on a ball, something will disappear from the bottom up, and then then they're taught that's the reason. There is no other reason, but there's a whole bunch of reasons why things disappear from the bottom up, right?
Yeah.
And it's provably not the curvature because the curvature is required at a specific distance, and we break all those distances all the time, right? Things will disappear from the bottom up, but far, far, far too away. We have the city of Chicago over Lake Michigan, 57 miles away. You can't see the bottoms of the buildings. You can't see the taxi cabs on the road, but you can see all of the buildings, and the tallest building should be 200 feet below the curve. But we can see all of them, and they're like, "Well, I can't see the cars on the street. Therefore, no, that's just stupid, right?" And people just can't. The indoctrination they get the kids from, kindergarten to age 7, and they just indoctrinate the crap out of them, and it's hard for them to break. You have to let go of your ego, right? Because when you go to an adult and say everything you learned in your life and loved, about space and everything is wrong, some people can't let go of their ego. So you're able to let go of your ego. I've completely killed my ego, and therefore I know I'm better than everybody else. But I used that in the last podcast. I hope you don't listen.
It's gone from ego to knowledge.
I gotta work on a better delivery of that. Right? I killed my whole ego. Now I know I'm better than everybody else. That's funny. That's funny. Come on. All right.
You know what though? There's great joy in truth.
Yes, there really certainly is. And it's great joy in helping other people find that truth. Nothing gives me more joy than somebody going, "Oh my God, I get it. I get it." That's what spurs me on. That's my mission. My mission here is to bring people to the point where they can't deny creation.
Yeah. But Dave, it's a great era we're living in with all of this amazing. Look what Instagram can so suddenly do.
Yeah.
You pick it up, you turn it on, and if we can flood that with truth,
we're doing it. It's everywhere. It's too late. I mean, we're going.
And Dave, this I mentioned faith. This is what's happening too. There's this massive movement within, this terrible word Catholic. Oh dear, the Vatican. We know all about all of that, but there's a huge movement in the youth for the truth, for the traditional truth, and it's all coming back, and it's through social media.
Yep.
Because those other grumpy old liars, they're not up with all of this stuff.
Here are the people that have my app down in that Sydney area.
Yeah, we're northeast. We're northeast of Melbourne. No, that's Melbourne. That's Sydney.
That's Sydney there. That. So yeah. So it's
Melbourne,
growing.
Victoria.
You're up higher up this way.
No. We're down the bottom. We're Victoria.
You're down here. Down
Melbourne.
Here.
Yeah, we're northeast of Melbourne.
Is this Melbourne? I don't even know where I am.
Yeah, that's Melbourne. Yeah, that's it. That's Victoria. Yeah.
Okay. So those are all a lot of those blue dots are probably because of your son Darcy.
Yeah, I reckon. Going down the freeway, this sign on the back of the truck. Yeah.
And
look, I'd be really happy to have the back of the truck sign written, but I don't know that.
No, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. There was a guy in the UK that had NASA lies, Earth is flat. And he called me years ago. He said, "Would it be cool if I wrote Flat Earth Dave on my truck?" I'm like, "Absolutely." So the entire side of his truck said flatearthdave.com. He died a couple weeks ago. He was older. And people thought Flat Earth Dave died. And so people started posting on Facebook that Flat Earth Dave died. And I'm getting all these calls. I'm getting people are posting. It's still going around. People still are kind of trying to figure it out. And I'm like, wow, that was a little crazy. It was like, radio hosts were talking about it in South America, that Flat Earth Dave is dead. It's funny. There was this one, and I thought the guy was like reporting, "Oh my God, Flat Earth Dave is dead." And I sent it to my buddy Mel from Veritas Radio, he speaks Spanish as his native language. Yeah, because he said, "Hey, I heard that you." He mentioned the story to me, and I said, "Yeah, look, check this out. It's even in South America." He listened to it and understood it. He goes, "Yeah, that guy didn't like you. He was happy that you're dead." I'm like I didn't even know that, but pretty funny, pretty funny.
Yeah,
So,
it is funny. No, no, it's all good. It's all
all
good.
right.
There's great joy in the truth, and there's great joy in life and family and faith. And thanks for having me on. It's been great.
Now, do you have live? You have cows, right? Bulls and stuff.
No, no, we're on land, but
Okay,
we've had horses, a lot of horses over the years with the kids,
okay,
and our sons are very much heavily involved in racing.
okay,
But ourselves here, we run a few heifers with
okay.
calves to grow our own meat and a bit of just to eat the grass. But um, it's like a 200-acre house block. Yeah,
Okay.
we've built a big house on 200 acres. Yeah,
All right.
and
All right, Mary Lou. Thanks. And I will be probably talking to Darcy in my morning, which is like 10 hours from now.
okay, have some rest. See
All
you
right.
later.
Thanks. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.